wheel repair specialists. We're the world's largest provider of wheel refinishing, remanufacturing, and wheel replacement. My dad was a car enthusiast, always working on cars of his own and new projects. That passed down to me, and it still grows with me today. Wheels have become the jewelry of the car. People want their wheels to look nice. We provide basic refinishing of wheels. We have remanufacturing facilities that provide extensive repair. We also have put all of our processes through an independent facility that's accredited. You can find those certifications on our website. We do it all. You bring your wheel to us and we'll figure it out. We strive for not just customer service experience, but customer excellence. We want to wow them so they come back each and every time. All of our technicians are trained and certified. We even have a master training course. It's important to love what you do. It's important to make employees feel a part of the team, and they're seeing the same rewards as you do. That's what helps us accomplish our goal. Everybody's our customer. The retail public, dealerships, body shops, insurance companies, warranty companies. We have a claims department. We're the ones that they call to come in and repair it. So if you find yourself in need of wheel refinishing, wheel repair, wheel replacement, or if you just want to custom color your wheels, give us a call. We'll help you find the right location, or you can go to our website. There's a locator on there to find the location closest to you.
Hello everybody, welcome into the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series here on Ghost Racing Network. Tonight we are at Kansas Motor Speedway, getting for a good one on one of the fastest mile-and-a-half tracks in all of racing. Taking a look here, we got somebody already blinking. Not sure if that's on my end or on there. And we're going to get tonight into your starting grid. We do have a special guest joining us in the booth tonight, but before we get to him, let's get right into your starting grid here tonight. The pole is going to go to Joshua Watson in the 01. Boy, he has been fast lately. Looking to continue that tonight. Second is going to be Sean Kaltenbach. Shane Parrish starts third. Tracy Powers fourth. Row 3 is going to be Andrew Nieder with Cody Colley to his outside in sixth. Carl Dotson seventh. Tyler Marble eighth. Scott Naslin ninth. Adrian Watts 10th. Richard Elliott 11th. Austin Fitzgerald sitting back in the 12th position. 13th is going to be Alan Pajari. 14th, Jeff Marble. Kyle Oakley 15th. Scott Glasso 16th. Danny Gutierrez 17th. 18th is going to be Ryan Shiro. Brian Watson starts in 19th. And that is going to wrap us up for now. We'll go through the rest of the order, but the green flag is in the air, so we're going to get down trackside. Joshua Watson gets off to a pretty good start. Sean Kaltenbach's going to fall right back. Oh, we got a wreck. We got a wreck further back. This is going to quickly draw the caution. Everybody gets slowed down here. And on the first lap, mayhem has already ensued, so we're going to hold some thoughts in. That might have been the perfect time for that, in all honesty, because it is going to give us a chance to go through the rest of the starting order. Apologize for being late on that. We had a lot of things to get set up tonight and a couple technical difficulties, but we are here and rolling. And let's take a look at what brings out your first caution here tonight. This is going to happen further back in the field. Looks like it might have been with Joe Owen. This is on the restart, too. This is not a track where you expect to see restart crashes, but if somebody misses a gear... Oh, and I'm not sure. He may have downshifted. That is a very odd-looking crash, but there you see the 5 car. He gets down into the 31. Just at absolutely nowhere to go. That's Matthew Gearinger. Able to slide into the outside wall. That's a pretty decent hit for, honestly, both of those cars. Take a couple more views at it here. Again, a little bit of an odd crash here to start out the race. Definitely not what I had expected. You see it in the back. And let's take one more shot here, but this time I want to go on board with Joe Owen and see if maybe he just accidentally downshifted to first. Yeah, sure enough, he did. You saw it right there. Redlined it down in first gear. That is a big no-no. At a track such as Kansas, spins that thing right out, and Matthew Gearinger is probably thinking to himself, what in the heck just happened? And a long race is going to come to an end early, potentially, for some of these guys. Remember, no fast pairs. That was in your race info. But either way, let's get some of the pre-race ceremonies that, again, I apologize for kind of missing. And we'll start that off with going back to your qualifying results here. Taking a look. We had gotten all the way down to around Richard Elliott. We saw Austin Fitzgerald. He currently is going to be starting 12th, 13th. Alan Pajari. Jeff Marble is going to be in 14th, 15th. Kyle Oakley, Scott Glasso, 16th. Danny Gutierrez, 17th, 18th was Ryan Sherrill. Brian Watson, 19th. Cody Richardson in 20th. Brian Conklin, 21st, 22nd. Mark Nadeau. I believe that might be a new driver. Good to see new guys getting out here every week. Jerry Isaacs, 23rd. Andrew Kotska, 24th. Johnny McCallchuck, 25th. Jacob Musso, 26th. Cody Matthews, 27th. Brian Curry, 28th. 29th, Bill Benedict. 30th, Ryan Haynes. 31st, Jared Bundy. 32nd, started Joe Musso. 33rd, Matthew Gearinger. 34th, Todd Shiro. 35th, Brett Spade. 36th, Joe Owen. And 37th tonight was Glenn Grigsby. But, of course, this all got kind of shuffled up because we saw that caution. I don't think it got shuffled up too much, but we may have had a change, at least in the hands for the lead. Joshua Watson looks like he is still leading the way, though, here. We'll hop down now into your race info for anybody that's not too sure about. Kansas is one of my favorite tracks, and why? It's because the speeds are so high, and all things considered, it's only a 1.5 mile track temp today. Scorching hot at 122 degrees Fahrenheit. That is definitely going to play a role into how much these guys need tires tonight. Looking at the weather outside, 87 degrees Fahrenheit, 41% humidity, partly cloudy skies, and winds as well going to be playing a factor at 13 miles an hour. The race tonight is the Kansas Spring 200, the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. 134 laps around this 1.5 miles, 100% fuel. 3 sets of tires. Guys going to have to use them wisely because they are certainly going to wear. No fast pairs, open setups, and 3 green-white checkers if we have to need them. But I don't think we're going to need them. And as we get ready to go back green here, I know it took me longer to introduce than it's been, but joining me in the booth tonight is Daniel Paulus. Daniel, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. What about you?
I'm not too bad, man. Here, having a good night. Watching the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series go at it. We got, usually every week, this is my favorite thing about broadcasting. There's always storylines developing, and we are certainly going to have some tonight. Joshua Watson, I mean, whether you like him or not, right now he's got to be one of the hottest drivers in the series. Got the most wins, got his 5th win last week, and we'll see if he can add on to that tonight. Green flag back in the air. Good jump for the 0-1 and the 2. That's Sean Kaltenbach on the outside. We'll see, does he look down for a side draft? No, going to play it conservative. The thing that's interesting about Kansas, Daniel, and me and you kind of talked about this before the broadcast, is it's going to be heavy tire wear, especially when you throw in the hot track temp and the winds, making these cars have to turn a lot more in one of the sets of corners. But the faster line here at Kansas, we know, is the top line. But everyone's going to start on the bottom to save some tire. When do you think maybe these guys should migrate to the top?
I would probably migrate to the top within the next maybe 10 to 15 laps. Once their tires start wearing in, you're going to see them move to the top here. And with the track being hot, that means your tires are going to be more slick, you're going to be a little more loose. But once they start getting the grip down on the track, they're going to probably move up to the high lane.
Couldn't agree more. That question becomes who moves up there first. It's kind of similar to Atlanta in the sense of if you move to the top first, you're going to probably make up the most time, but at the same time, you're going to start wearing your tires the quickest. But at the same time, if you're stuck on the bottom too long, you lose too much track position, you get caught in that dirty air, you're going to be in trouble. Speaking of dirty air, Sean Kaltenbach found himself some clean air. He has taken the lead over from second place now. Joshua Watson in the 0-1 and the run early now from Andrew Nieder in the 36. That is one of the Team Watson Racing drivers. And just like his teammate, they probably share pretty similar setups, if not the same. And you can see they're showing a lot of speed here earlier. Of course, we did see Sean Kaltenbach pick up his first win at this season just a few weeks back at Talladega Super Speedway, a wild card for sure.
See the lead here still. We have Kaltenbach in the lead right now in the 2 car. Right behind him is the 0-1 of Watson. Watson looking on the inside here, but Kaltenbach still hanging strong here as they are coming off turn 2.
Off turn 2, these guys looking side by side further back. Looking at the 48, that's Tyler Marble. I'll tell you what, I almost thought it was Chase Elliott for a second. Running a very similar paint scheme. That's Carl Dotson in the top line. And we've seen, we got one in the wall. That actually is Carl Dotson in the 29. He's still in it. Looks like he's going to get out of it, but that's the other thing that we got to take into account if you're choosing to ride that top line. And in fact, we'll ride on board here real quick with one of these guys on the top line. Let's see if maybe Carl Dotson got spooked away from it. No, he's still running it. And interestingly enough, I'll show you here when we get to 3 and 4, but you saw he was above that seam. there's going to be a seam that he runs just above, almost like if he was running the bottom. There you go. This time he does it properly. I was going to say drivers are going to be looking to really straddle that seam if you're going to want to run the top for long term. If you run up by the tippy top by the wall, you're going to wear those tires a lot quicker as the back end isn't going to rotate as much as you would like if you were on that seam. And also, you have a chance of running up to the wall, which we have seen Carl Dobson. Ooh, Brian Curry has crashed. Caution is out for the second time here tonight. Oh, man, we got a few guys piled up. Looks like one of them had to tow it. My goodness, on the bottom, that's Cody Matthews. He's going to get that 10. Bucky's machine spun around, get it back rolling on the front stretch. We've seen both wrecks on the front stretch tonight, but this one, at least everybody was up to speed. Let's go take a look what happens here. And you know what? Let's watch from this view to see if we can see, does it start with the 10 or does it start in front? Oh, no, this is going to start in front. So let's go up to Brian Curry.
Looks like 17's around.
Sure enough. Oh, man. Yeah.
28, it looks like. My slid up track. Yeah.
Well, that looked like three guys fighting for the same piece of real estate, and only two of them were able to make it out alive. Man, tell you what, Brian Curry is running a new paint scheme tonight with the Drafts King, and that's a good-looking car. You hate to see it have to get towed that early, but let's take a slow motion view of this here. You see there are 3 wide. This is pretty much the first instance of 3 wide, and man, that's, you know, we know the 28's going up in this case. I think the 20 maybe had a little room to go up, but yeah, overall, just Brian Curry getting tight, nowhere to go. Nothing that Ryan Shiro did wrong at all there. And the 20 machine, just kind of an innocent victim. And then you see after this, it's the mad scramble to miss it. The 17, oh man, he just gets clipped, almost got through it. That is Kyle Oakley. And it looks like he's going to take a pretty big hit into this outside wall as well. Well, Daniel, I mean, what do you think about the aggression there early? Is that one that we should have avoided, or is that just kind of guys trying to get the track position?
I think that's just guys trying to get their track position right now, Austin. I mean, I wasn't expecting them to be this aggressive early on. This is a long race. I don't know why they're racing this hard. We're only in the start of this race. So to see them being this aggressive is kind of shocking to me, but again, it is just hard racing, and if your car is tight coming out of those turns, your car is literally gonna shoot up the track, and the driver that's above you is, well, in kind of danger spot there.
Absolutely. Going up front, looking at your top 5, we saw Sean Kaltenbach take the lead. He has held on since. Joshua Watson currently sitting second. It's going to be Tracy Powers third, Tyler Marble fourth, and Adrian Watts. Boy, let me tell you about this guy. The rookie did not disappoint last week. Made his first start at Dover, and boy, he was absolutely flying. And I'm pretty sure this is a JBR e-racing driver. I'll have to make sure. We didn't quite get that stuff set up for him just yet. We will have it set up next week. Speaking of rookies, though, going back, looking at the other rookie in the field that had an incredible week last week, almost saw him get the win. That was Shane Parrish in the 66. Tell you what, he told us after, too, I think he just needed maybe a handful more laps, and we would have saw the 66 do something that I personally have never seen done in my time broadcasting, and that would be a rookie getting his first win in his first race.
And that would be very shocking and nice to see.
It would certainly be nice to see. All right, well, we're only 13 laps in, so not too far, guys. Got a long way to go. We'll take a look. We'll give you a couple updates, rather, on some of the stats here. The first thing is going to be that fuel window. Not sure if it's going to be more of a tire or fuel window, but it looks like the fuel run is going to be somewhere between 45 to 57 laps, and that is courtesy of Johnny McCulchuk, who we do have running in the field tonight. And looking at that from here, boy, if some of these guys can find a way to go towards the end of that fuel run, man, they would still, I think, have to make 2 stops unless we were to get another caution. Just don't see guys being able to make it on one. It'd be kind of close, but I still think you got to come and get those fresh tires, top it off on fuel, and we will see what happens from there. But up front, the racing has been pretty fierce so far. Out back, it's been even fiercer, and we will see how these two decide to go about this restart. Looks like we will get the 1-to-go signal next time. And, you know, Daniel, I know you were talking about that guys race a little too aggressive towards the back, but it's kind of the split mindset. I mean, you got guys in the back that they see what's happening there, and they say, you know what, get me the heck out of here. Let's go to the front. But then you also have guys in the back that are probably trying, such as Jeff Marlowe. Here's a prime example. This guy is not a back marker by any means. He's sitting back here right now because he's waiting for a long run. Jeff Marble is one of those guys each and every week. If we get on the long run, he's going to find speed. He's going to be up there. But if we don't get any long runs and you get trapped in the back, you're in trouble.
You are, and there's some drivers that like the long runs, and there's some drivers that are really good during the short runs. It just depends how this race is going to play out. And like you mentioned with the pit stops now, with these cautions happening, that's just going to throw your pit strategy up in the air. So it's kind of really difficult what these drivers want to do when these cautions just keep coming after one another.
Absolutely, and sure enough, Adrian Watts is a JBR E-Racing driver. And you know what, a guy I do want to give a shout out to while we're here too, that we talked about in the grid, and for some reason it took me a minute to spark it, and that's Richard Elliott. He's another one of the JBR E-Racing drivers, currently sits in 8th, up 3 spots from where he started, but we hadn't seen Richard for, I'd say, maybe a few to a handful of weeks. I believe he was out on either work or vacation. He was still checking in on the broadcast from time to time, rooting on his JBR E-Racing teammates. But he's back out in the field tonight in that beautiful-looking O2 Budweiser paint scheme. And we will see if maybe the O2 could find his first win of the season.
And it might happen. Might happen very soon, though. You never know as you see the pace car comes off pit road.
And rolling into the Geico restart zone again. Second caution is wrapped up. We are back racing at Kansas. Good start again from the first two. At some tracks, we will really see one of those lanes pull away. Not the case tonight. Little interesting as we go all the way through the field here is that nobody dives below that white line. We know in real life that that white line is a very big factor in restarts at a track such as Kansas. And maybe we'll see it as the race goes on, but I certainly have not seen it so far. Guys could shortcut the white line at a track like Kansas, and, you know, maybe they get a little extra tire wear. I wouldn't think so, but, I mean, overall, I think the benefits outweigh the cons of it. And look who's already back up on the wall, Daniel, and that's Carl Dotson, who we saw get into it earlier.
And I think what's going on is you don't want to get so high up in the high lane where you're just hugging the wall, because once you get into that dirty stuff in the top lane, your car's just going to go right into the wall. And one driver I want to point out is, look at the 48 of Marble. He is all the way up to second right now. As you see, he's battling with the 2 of Kaltenbach, but something tells me at 48 is really strong. As you see, the pink car up there, I don't know who that is, but they are coming, and they are coming fast.
Well, that's Mr. Carl Dotson, and while you were talking, boy, we saw about an up-and-down roller coaster for this guy. He got really, really loose on the entrance to turn 1 last lap, but then the amount of momentum we saw him get off of 4. And this is that thing. Everybody else is running the bottom trying to save tires, but I think Carl Dotson says, oh, and he turns the 2. Sean Kaltenbach tried to make a block. It was late. Third caution of the night, and oh man, this has been the destruction of Sean Kaltenbach in this series. Man, he had such a fast car tonight, and that thing might be going straight to the scrapyard. To see how bad the damage is. Absolutely. You were talking about, I mean, the 29 was so fast up top. You know, do you think maybe the 2 was just trying to throw a late block here? It was kind of hard to tell from the initial look. Let's get to the replay.
I really don't know. As you see on this replay here, you see right there, 29, my bad. Let's see, it looks like the 2 was trying to come up the block, but the 29 had such a big run, there was just no time to react, and just hooked the 2 in the right side corner panel there, as you see on this replay here. Look at the 29.
Well, what I want to point out real quick was this was really close. You know, I'm wondering if he may not have actually really been focused on the 29 as he was. He was right lined up behind Joshua Watson. He may have been trying to give Joshua Watson a push. And also what I think might have happened here is that, I don't know if you've ever got it before, Daniel, but I have certainly got this as a driver. It's almost like a tunnel vision where he's pretty much lined up behind the 01 at this point. And I think he thinks that he's kind of in the position, because you see he's kind of there. It almost looks like he's on the outside, but he's not. He's still probably got about a foot. And that's just the effect, the visual effect, I guess, created by him being on the 01's bumper. So I don't think he was trying to block Carl Dotson. It just, maybe he didn't really realize he was there.
And that's the thing. You're so focused on what's in front of you, even though it looks like you're right behind in the center of the car in front of you. And from the driver's perspective, it looks like you're really close to the wall, but you have a whole foot yet until you get to the wall. And you're just so focused in front of you, you just probably didn't have time to react to see who was behind you, and you didn't even know he was behind you.
I mean, Carl Dotson's run as well was just so massive right there. There's not really much he could do, but boy, I've seen this happen to actually not just Sean Kaltenbach, both of these guys. Carl Dotson at Bristol is a prime example. Fast car and just unfortunate circumstances tear each other up, and then here after the incident, Brian Conklin trying to miss it, slides back up from the apron and gives the 29 a little bit more damage, and that is Bill Benedict flying in. Ooh, the 10 of, like, Cody Matthews made a little contact. Looks like everybody else from there was able to escape. Let's take one more view of this here, the TV3 cam, and boom.
Yeah. That's a shame for Dotson. He had such a strong car, it looked like, tonight. And I bet there was nothing he could do. He had such a big run, and I feel like if he checked up a little bit, that would have checked up the rest of the field, and that would have been a disaster there. So I felt like he had nowhere to go. He just had to take it.
Well, this race, maybe a little bit out of characteristic what we're used to seeing. Dover was, I'd say, overall pretty green. Of course, we had our fair share of a couple cautions maybe here and there, but, tonight, a couple early cautions here. In fact, third one so far. We had the restart wreck on the initial start, and then after that, what you just saw, the Carl Dotson and Sean Kaltenbach wreck, and then we had Brian Curry get a little tight off exit when they were 3 wide. He got up into another car, and they went for a wild spin as well, took out a couple more guys. Kyle Oakley got involved in that wreck as well. So early on, it looks like we already have, looking back here all the way to Carl Dotson, he's still on pit road. I think he may have got the better end of it. Both guys had damage, but you see here the 2 cars, Sean Kaltenbach, he's still sitting on the pits, and he had pretty heavy front end damage. You see the right front is still pretty banged up, and I'll tell you what, Daniel, we know how aero dependent these cars are at a track like Kansas, and do you think he's got any chance of recovering for the rest of the day?
I'm going to be honest with you, Austin. I really don't think I think he can compete. I don't think he's going to be competing for the win, nor I don't have the speed as what the other drivers have right now. With that front end damage, you can just kiss the aero goodbye, because once that aero gets damaged, your car's not going to handle the same. And with him sitting on pit road this long, that just tells me he's having significant damage with the front end.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you what, I was running some officials this week, and we know that the next gens are the most aero dependent of all 3 international NASCAR series, or national NASCAR series, whatever you want to call it. And I'll tell you what, in one of the series such as the Trucks or Xfinity, you just get a little scrape, and the only time you're keeping up with the rest of the field is on brand new tires. So having any more than a scrape, man, even new tires, I don't think it's going to be enough. All right, let's look at your top 5. We're getting ready to go back green. It's going to be Joshua Watson and Tyler Marble lining up row 1. Andrew Niedert, well, he saw his teammate get wrecked. He's going to try to carry the torch from here. We'll see if maybe he can get his 2nd win of the season. Of course, he did get the win at Bristol. He sits 3rd. Tracy Powers in 4th. The rookie Adrian Watts still hanging around the top 5, and Richard Elliott currently sitting in 6th. And the pace car will be pulling off out of turn 4 here. And we are only 21 laps in of 134, so still quite a ways from halfway, but I wonder if anybody's really taken a tire set yet. In fact, we can check it here. So we're going to try to do as they roll into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. It does look like not too many guys decided to pit, at least under this one. Remember, they only have 3 sets of tires. We may have seen some. But on the top, here comes the 48. Tyler Marble, you were talking about him earlier. Daniel, how hard do you think he goes for the lead right here?
Whoa. Yeah, I think he's going to go for the lead right now. As you see the 48 and Marble just taking that lead. Now, just like I mentioned, we're 10 to 15 laps in now, so I expect him to start moving up to the top lane.
Absolutely, that 48. Boy, I thought he'd have some more momentum off the turn. He didn't, and as these two stay side by side, that might open the door for Andrew Nieder, but looks like he's going to stay patient here, and he will just tuck back line behind these two. The 48 gets a little low. We saw him really try a side draft on the restart. This time, not so much. Oh, man, the 03. That's Adrian Watts, the rookie. He got right up and close and personal with the 36 of Andrew Nieder. They both keep it off each other, keep it respectful. Looking further back here, how about Cody Colley? We saw this guy almost had a chance at winning it at Dover, made a mistake, hit the wall, and looks like this week he's back out with some vengeance, showing good speed here early, currently sitting just outside the top 10 in 11th. And boy, I'll tell you what, the middle of the pack right now is a hornet's nest of just dirty air. I'm telling you, you got to find a different lane than everyone else if you're going to want to make any progress.
It's very tricky here, and it's hard to draft. Once you're in the dirty air here at Kansas Motor Speedway, it's really hard to get back up to the front. But once you're in the front, you can actually start pulling away, and as you see, most of the drivers are now migrating up to the top because of the grip now on the track. So that's where you're going to want to be. You don't want to be on the inside the whole entire time, because if so, you are going to fall back.
Well, you know, I'm looking at a couple things here, and the amount of guys that we have no longer on the lead lap is quite impressive. In fact, it starts at 30th. Oh, we got one in the wall back here. Oh, that's the 6. Can he save it? Looks like Jared Bundy is going to hold on to it. Still in the... No, he gets out of it. That's on the backstretch. The John Deere paint scheme is going to have a little bit of that paint scuffed off on the right side. Ooh, right front's pretty banged up as well. And I was just going to mention Sean Kaltenbach. We had saw him in that blimp cam. He is back out and running. We'll compare some of his speed here. Looking at the dashboard here, down into turn one, looks like he was low 170s right there, but you know, he's only sitting a lap down, and he's the first car lap down, and I know that his night's probably over. Obviously not going to have a shot to win, but with over 10 cars either a lap down or out of the race, you know, at this point, turn it into a survival race. Try to get as many guys as you can, and you never know. We get a couple more cautions. Maybe he passes a lot more than what we think. Up front, though, Joshua Watson, you see in the draft, they're getting speeds of almost 190 miles an hour down into turn one. This is, of course, open setup, so you'll see these guys running faster than they would if they were on fixed. Adrian Watts is up to second, but Andrew Niedert, he is still looking for more up top. He's going to take that position from the 03, who stayed side by side down the backstretch. The 48 of Tyler Marble fell back. Ooh, is he maybe looking for a 3 wide here? He's going to hang it to the door of Tracy Powers. Gets caught in the dirty air off exit. Has to let off just a little bit. But boy, I'll tell you what else we're noticing right here, Daniel. Track, one of those tracks with such a big straightaway, not only on the front but the back, that the draft really keeps guys from pulling away, at least not until these tires start to really wear out.
It really does, and Watson's doing a great job. As you see, he's going to have to try to block that top lane there with the run, but he doesn't have a shot right now because he just has such a big run. But look, he's holding pretty strong on the inside lane, taking the 03 with him. So, I mean, for me right now, it looks like I just see him trying to control his lead by just going back, switching to the in and outside lanes here.
Taking a look now at Danny Gutierrez, who currently sits in 5th. Oh, man, big moment, but Danny Gutierrez currently up 12 positions from where he started, one of the biggest movers in the field, and the Daytona 250 winner won the biggest race to open up the season. You know, unfortunately, had a family matter to deal with that, you know, still working through it. That's part of the teal colors that you see on his car, but man, I'll tell you what, he has found speed so far here tonight, and it's just kind of been slowly building throughout the season. We've seen him start to put together some speed. Hasn't quite been able to put together too many good runs. Has had a couple here and there, but tonight could certainly be a good one at Kansas, as he has now cracked into the top 5, and it doesn't look to me like he's saving much tire. Ooh, man, got to be really careful. Gets under Tyler Marble, and I thought they were going to make some contact right there. Back up front, Joshua Watson still leading the way. The 03 sitting second. Adrian Watson, Andrew Niedert continue to go at it, and if we can stay green, and I say if because these guys are still side by side, not many tracks that we've seen this at, especially not that many mile and a half, but that's what you're going to get at a track like Kansas, where you have pretty much 3 lanes. The top line, it is working right now, and overall it is faster, but again, I still think as the tires wear out, we're going to see guys really, I think you'll see everybody migrate to the top 4 the most part eventually, but I think you'll see the top start to slow down, and the guys that were up there earlier all of a sudden aren't going to be so fast anymore. Looking back in the pack here, this is Jeff Marble. He is going to take that position right away for Mark Nadeau. And this is a pretty good run as well for one of the newer drivers in the series, Mark Nadeau in the 75. This might be his debut. I certainly don't recall the 75 Snap-on machine out on track. The 47 of Andrew Kotska for Mad Sim Racing just behind him. And speaking of that, I think now's a pretty good time to go through the run-through of the order, because we've been talking about how many guys are off track, etc. Joe Owen is currently off track right now in 37th place. Kyle Oakley, he is nowhere to be found on track as well. Both of those guys involved in crashes early. Brian Curry in 35th. Bill Benedict in 34th. Ryan Conklin 33rd. Matthew Gearinger 32nd. Cody Matthews 31st. Brett Spade 30th. Sean Kaltenbach, who we saw getting that last strike that brought out the most recent caution, in 29th. Jared Bundy 28th. Ryan Haynes 27th. Glenn Grigsby in 26th. Todd Sherrill 25th. Jacob Musso 24th. Carl Dotson in 23rd. Johnny McCulchuk. We could run for one of the Capital Auto Group paint schemes, at least in the field tonight, for No Excuses Racing. And he ran one of the coolest paint schemes of the year earlier, the Gravedigger paint scheme. And we'll see if that makes a return later on in the season. See what the driver out of Fraser, Michigan can do tonight. Up 3 spots from where he started in 22nd. Shane Parrish, the rookie. If this guy's good on long runs, we may still have a lot to see at him. But right now, he is in a fierce battle. This is currently the battle for, looks like 18th. But he's working his way around the 20 of Ryan Shiro. And is going to get that position for 20th. Cody Richardson currently sits in 19th. Joe Musso in 18th. Brian Watson in 17th. Jerry Isaac 16th. Andrew Kotska in 15th. Mark Nadeau 14th. Richard Elliott 13th. Cody Colley in 12th. Austin Fitzgerald 11th. Moving into your top 10, it's going to be Jeff Marble, Scott Glasso 9th. Scott Naslin in 8th. Tracy Powers in 7th. Alan Pajari 6th. Danny Gutierrez 5th. Tyler Marble 4th. Adrian Watts in 3rd. Second is going to be Andrew Niedert and Joshua Watson. Now back for the lead on the bottom. And he's still, for the most part, it looks like at least, is kind of working the bottom line. I'm surprised that he hasn't decided to move up just yet, but I guess if you have the clean air, you might as well save the tires as long as you got the clean air. No need for him to go up top and find any more speed because the bottom is working just fine right now. And, you know, speaking of the Adrian Watts ordeal and the fact that he's still a rookie out here, you would think to have a chance at the Rookie of the Year battle, you'd have to join at the start of the season, but the speed he's shown so far throughout a race and a half of his debut, I would say he's got a very good chance at it. Of course, there's still a lot of other hungry rookies in the field looking to have a chance of stealing that. Alan Pajari had a hot start to the season. He's having a good run so far tonight in 6th, up 7 spots from where he started. And, you know, Daniel, I got a question for you here. We're not coming up. It's a pretty big track. Lap traffic not going to be a huge factor, but we're certainly going to probably encounter some of it at some point. As you see here on the track map, the nearest lap car currently halfway down the front stretch. But Kansas, we talked about how aero dependent. What do you think's the move here if you catch a lapper? How do you get by him?
Well, what you want to do if you catch lap traffic now here at Kansas Motor Speedway is that you want to try to predict, I should say, where the lap car's going to go. If he's going to go high, you're going to want to go low. If he's going to go low, you're going to want to go high. If you get stuck behind a lap car, you better be ready for the second place car to have a huge run on you. So it all depends where the lap traffic goes. You just want to try to predict where they will go so you can try to get around them as fast as possible.
Absolutely. And remember the guy that we were talking about, the long run car, Jeff Marble? Well, guess what? He's up 4 spots from where he started, up now inside the top 10. And you're going to see that increment continue to increase in terms of spots gained as this run continues to go on. Looks like he is one of those guys already on the top line. And I wish we had a thing to show you which guys are on the bottom, which are on the top, because it is pretty split evenly right now. Cody Richardson, he looks to be struggling a little bit right now in 20th. This is not what we're used to seeing out of the Mad Sim Racing driver. He does have his teammate Jerry Isaacs just in front of him in the 52. Johnny McCulchuk in the 72 is looking to get by both of these guys. And there's a good example of the thing I wanted to bring up next, and that was 3 different lines being ran. Similar to what you said about with the lap cars, is the same deal for the leaders here. Maybe not so much right now, but if we have a battle such as this at the end of the race for the win, you're not going to be able to follow the guy. If you follow him, you're just going to wear out your tires, and once they get worn out, your only hope is going to be for getting some clean air on the nose. And if you're following right in the wake, that's where the most dirty air is going to be generated, and you are not going to have a chance of getting by that car in front of you.
And look at the 01 of Watson now. He's on the inside lane, cutting the course as short as possible here, but look at the run that the 36 and the dirt gets. Now you see him on the top lane. Now he's going to try to get a nice run coming down this back straightaway here. And you see how the 01 loses some ground coming down the back straightaway. Now I feel like if the 01 was with him on the top lane here, I feel like they would be side by side any time now. But the 01's just pulling away from the second place car in the turns, while the second place car is gaining on him in the front and the back stretch.
And that's pretty much the battle at tracks where you have progressive banking. Kansas, of course, being one of those, is momentum versus the shorter way around the track. Joshua Watson continuing to take the shorter way around. Andrew Nader continuing to stick close because he gets that momentum off the corner and gets the draft down the straightaways. One thing I noticed, though, last time to 3 and 4, and maybe I'm just seeing things, but it looks like the 36 is continuing to get closer and closer to the wall. Usually that's a pretty good sign that guys' tires are wearing out and they're starting to get really tight, trying to stay in the throttle as long as possible, using up as much track. But if you keep pushing it when it's not meant to be pushed anymore, you might push it too far and get into the wall. Kind of broken away here. We got a couple different packs. You see the little battle for the lead here between these top two, and then you go to Tyler Marble, who's kind of on an island by himself. After that, you got a hungry pack of guys looking to chase him down, being led by Danny Gutierrez, Adrian Watts 5th, Alan Pajari 6th, Scott Glasso up 9 from where he started in 7th. And guess what? Jeff Marble, he's picked up 2 more, still ripping the top. He's currently in 8th, Tracy Powers 9th. On an island kind of by himself, and he's getting chased down by Austin Fitzgerald, almost 3 wide behind these guys. Shane Parrish looks like he is trying to make his way through the field as well. We saw, I know you weren't here for it last week at Dover, Daniel, but let me tell you, this guy right here, we got the 47, that's Andrew Kotska You see he got a little kiss to the outside wall there. I think he's going to be fine. Tucks in behind the 75. Man, that got close. That's Mark Nadeau. But the 66 last week, at one point, he had fell so far back. I believe it was almost 10 seconds back from the leader, Carl Dotson. And a track like Dover, you would expect that to take 200-plus laps to have a chance to make up. This guy did it in about, I think it was about 10 to 15 laps. Wow. So the rate he was closing in was absolutely insane. That's why I almost didn't realize that he was a rookie last week. And he's going at it with another one of the rookies right now. That is Mark Nadeau in the 75. It looked like, oh man, maybe got a little wiggly right there, but he's going to keep it together. Richard Elliott, he's starting to fall back a bit in 17th, now down 6 from where he started. He's got his JBR E-Racing teammate with Brian Watson just in front. Going back up front, though, these two somehow, although they're still battling each other, continue to pull away from the field. Not really a lead, I would say, for Joshua Watson, but the lead for these two over the rest of the field, you can see they're sitting at about 2.5 seconds. Danny Gutierrez still in 4th, continuing to climb. He might have the best car he's had all season, of course, since Daytona, but these guys still battling it out back here. What do you think of it, Daniel?
It's kind of concerning me a little bit, seeing these guys now in a group again. As you see, we're trying to go 3 wide here once again. It looks like 15's on the outside lane.
Oh, my goodness.
Like 48. Got a little loose there.
And I apologize for cutting you off, but man, the 48 had his hands full from about turn the middle of 3 and 4 all the way on exit and some more. That thing must be getting really loose. And we have got to go back and take a look at this. This was an incredible save. I thought for sure he was going around. As you see, Jeff Marble, his teammate there, is going to get around him. Oh my goodness, watch this. This is going to start in turns 3 and 4. Just starts wiggling here. He's trying to catch it. Oh, and actually, I wonder if there was some contact there with the 8. See if we can ride on board here. And watch it get loose.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. It's hard to say if there was contact there, man. But even if there wasn't, are you kidding me? Heck of a save. And to not take out Danny Gutierrez and not hit the wall. Whew, boy, we might have our sweet move of the race. Let's go back live, though, and check out how everybody's doing after that. Looks like the 48's gathered back up. Maybe going to take a different line. Looks like he's migrated maybe a little bit higher to the top here, riding behind Danny Gutierrez. Oh, and he's back in the wall.
He's in the wall again.
Oh,
Same
man.
turn.
That thing is still wiggling.
I think he's struggling really bad right now with that car of his. Now that we are seeing this long run here, I don't know if I should be concerned about him right now. I don't know if it's the tires, but like I said, with the sun out right now, it's going to make the track a lot more harder to drive.
Well, we certainly know that tires are a big part of it. And looking at track tap, the unfortunate news, everybody, is it hasn't gone down. In fact, it's gone up 4 degrees. Now sitting at 126 degrees Fahrenheit, and wind is still at 13 miles an hour, of course. But, you know, I think part of what happened there with Tyler Marble after that first instance was you kind of get into a rhythm. In these long races, you try to get into a rhythm, and all of a sudden when you mess up, it pulls you right out of your rhythm. And getting back in it is not an easy task. You know what else isn't an easy task? The thing we talked about earlier, and that is pulling away from the field by yourself. But now, all of a sudden, not sure if Andrew Niedert slipped up just a little bit or if Joshua Watson has found a little something with the tires he saved, but he's almost got the gap up to a second now over second place Andrew Niedert, and the gap behind them. Wow, Jeff Marble up to 3rd place, up 11 from where he started. And I don't think he's done just yet. Currently battling side by side with the rookie Adrian Watts. That's the Forrest Scott Glasso sitting in these two wake. And Danny Gutierrez has fallen a position, couple positions actually, since we last saw him from 4th to 6th. But part of that may have been that little incident regarding Tyler Marble. May gave him a little scare as well. And of course, we always appreciate Danny for rocking the Ghost Racing Network paint scheme. I'll go through those quarter panels. You see it back there just below the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series logo. Going back up front, Joshua Watson now does have it over a second, and what concerns me here is a little bit for Andrew Niedert. Not so much that Joshua Watson found a ton of speed, but I'm thinking the 36 may have all of a sudden started to lose some. We'll have to see, but he's fading in a hurry here, and if all of a sudden he used those tires, it's like a light switch, man. You have a one lap, and then the next lap, all of a sudden it seems like they're just gone. You feel like you're on ice.
And that's what happens here on these long run green flags. So, oh, looks like the 48 again gets loose out turn 4. He's just struggling right now. You see him on the inside lane right there. The 48, man, I don't know what to say. I think he's going to have to possibly pit if he can't keep this thing going. I mean, Marble's just been struggling for the last 10 laps here. As you see another car right behind them get a little loose too. So this is kind of concerning me, Austin. Are we going to see a lot more drivers end up like Marble right now?
You know, it's hard to say. It's kind of weird how you're seeing Marble. Oh man, further back, saw a couple guys get a little fishtailing off the corner, but you're seeing all these guys, for the most part at least, migrate up to that top line. But Marble's trying something different, and I think he's trying to see if it's a little more secure on the bottom. But we'll go back on board with him here, and you'll notice there is not a lot of throttle time at this point. That is just how significant the wear-off is. And take a listen here as we work through turns 3 and 4. And I mean, you hear it there. He's in 5th gear, you know, and into the corner. He's probably off the throttle till about the middle mark, maybe a little sooner. And then I would say he's probably somewhere between a 25 to 50% throttle all the way until he gets off exit and he feels that the back end is really secure before he gets back in the throttle. But even on the front stretch, the next gens just feel light. And that's what can happen is, oh man, I'll tell you what here. Hold on just a second. Have we had some pit stops? Or has Andrew Niedert suffered a major issue because he is back now currently sitting a lap down? I think this may have been pit stops actually. We'll see if we can find it. And it looks like, yep, sure enough, that's what it is. Pit stops are underway. We talked about the fuel window earlier, and we got guys coming down pit road. So now it's time to see. Everybody's going to get a fresh set of shoes, and we'll see how much faster some of these guys can go. And the guys that burn their stuff up, what are they going to do about it? Are they going to try to race a little more conservative?
You know, that's a very good question, Austin. I really don't know if these drivers are going to play more conservative now, what they're seeing and how their car's handling. But now I feel like for the top 5 drivers currently in the top 5, they found their ground here at Kansas Motor Speedway. They know what lines they're going to run. They know how their car is handling. But unlike some drivers like Marble, for instance, in the 48 car, just not having a good day so far, just struggling with his line, can't find it. And that's what's concerning me a little bit. So with these drivers pitting, I'm going to expect them to get new tires, get a splash of fuel, and you're going to see how their cars are going to handle once again. They may change a little setup. I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see how this plays out.
And while Tyler Marble's day hasn't been so good, the man that's day has been good is his teammate, Jeff Marble. You see Jeff currently sitting in 2nd position, actually 3rd now. He's going to lose that spot to rookie Adrian Watts, but the 15 has been pretty good on the long run. He did have to make up a lot of positions. That might be why he's struggling just a little bit right here. I think after we come in and pit, though, now that he'll only have, hoping 2 to 3 cars in front of him, we'll get to really see just how fast the 15 is on a long run. But it's kind of interesting because they're both probably on pretty similar setups. Ooh, Jeff maybe just tagged the wall there a little bit. He is really pushing that thing right now. And he would also like some new tires. Joshua Watson still stays out. And one of the things I want to look at here is the tire fall off. The best way to do that is to compare some of these lap times. Looking at Andrew Niedert, his last 2 laps were a 31.6 and a 31.7. Compare that to your leader right now, who's already running pretty fast but is on extremely old tires, 32.7 and 32.6. So the new tire to old tire is about a 1 second fall off. It's looking like maybe just a tiny bit more if you go to the average of the field, because of course Joshua Watson is in clean air, but that's a pretty big gap. So I think when these pit stops initially cycle out, you're going to see Andrew Niedert take the lead. But I think Joshua Watson will, of course, reclaim that. It's just a matter of time. And maybe the 36 had an issue because he did seem to like he pitted pretty early. The rest of these guys are still staying out, and you got to think maybe we're starting to get close to that fuel window, considering 57 laps from about when we went green, somewhere 13. Man, I got to think in the next 15 to 20 laps at the longest, we're going to see everybody coming in pit.
Yeah, I think we're going to start seeing some drivers pit now. Now we are reaching the point where their tires are wearing out. But look at who is currently in the lead still. It is the 01 of Watson. And right behind him is I believe, the 36 of Niedert. But as you see, there are drivers hitting pit road right now.
Certainly are. We see a lot of guys coming down. I'm a little surprised that the leaders overall have not came down. Usually when you see some guys go, you'll see everybody start to follow. But I guess the longer you can stay out on a set of tires, as long as the car's handling fine, the more you can use that next set of tires. And of course, if, you know, maybe the way these strategies play out, one guy's only going to have to use maybe 1 set and 2 tires versus somebody else who's going to have to use both 4 sets of tires. And you never know, if we somehow get a late overtime finish here, if you have, heck, even 2 tires left in the pits. He might have a lot more speed than the rest of the guys that are on old tires. Taking a look here at Austin Fitzgerald, who's working his way out of the pits. Kind of an up and down day overall. Solid, though, for the driver out of Las Vegas for ADS Racing. Emerges back out on track. And speaking of back out on track, looks like Kyle Oakley in the 17, who unfortunately got taken out in an earlier wreck. He is back out on track, but man, heavy damage to the 17. And the bad news is he is more than a couple handful of laps down, and it's not looking like he's going to have a chance for many points tonight, but looks like he might get himself a 35th place finish as Brian Curry and Joe Owen, who are 36th and 37, looking like they're still off track. Yep, sure enough, they are. Bill Benedict in 34th, Brian Conklin in 33rd, Matthew Gehringer 32nd, Cody Matthews in 31st, Ryan Shiro in 30th, Austin Fitzgerald in 29th, Mark Nadeau in 28th, 27th, Scott Naslin, 26th, Jared Bundy, 25th, Brett Spod, 20. Oh, and they're going to take over that position from Danny Gutierrez. So 23rd, Sean Kaltenbach, Alan Pajarian 22nd, Andrew Nieder 21st, Glenn Grigsby in 20th. And let's pause there for a second. Glenn Grigsby, you know, there's a lot of teams in this series. This is one of the guys that is not on a team, but rather independent. So that means he's making his own setups each week. Whether he buys it or not, he's got to make his own adjustments, doesn't get any team notes, doesn't get any team feedback. And if he wants to practice, unfortunately, he's got to practice by himself. But this is a good run right now as well for Glenn Grigsby, sitting inside the top 20 and up 17 spots from where he started. See if he can continue to improve. Maybe look for a season best finish. Todd Shiro in 19th, Jacob Musso 18th, Ryan Haynes 17th, Jerry Isaacs in 16th. His teammate Cody Richardson just ahead of him in 15th, Andrew Kotska 14th. Joe Musso in 13th, Tracy Powers 12th, Richard Elliott up to 11th, Johnny McCulchuk 10th, Brian Watson 9th, Tyler Marble, he has brought that thing down to pits. Oh man, lock up on the right front. You got to wonder, did he speed there? You certainly hope not, but if he did, that could mean big trouble.
That's costly.
Carl Dotson sitting in 7th. Looks like he's recovered for the most part pretty good since that contact with Sean Kaldenbach that turned him into the outside wall. Scott Glasso in 6th, Cody Colley 5th, Jeff Marble 4th, Adrian Watts in 3rd, Shane Parrish up to 2nd. And remember what we talked about earlier, this guy was a beast on long run last week, and he's got 6 seconds, but let me tell you what, if he could make up even half of the distance right here, and I'm speechless. I do not know how he does it. So this guy's got something figured out that no one else does, but they're going to have to figure it out sooner or later, because if they don't, he is going to be a dangerous threat as we roll on through the season and into the postseason. But Joshua Watson's still out in front, and there's Andrew Nieder looking to get his lap back right here. So I think the 36 had an issue.
I think he might have an issue too, because I felt like earlier on there was no reason for him to pit. I mean, when we saw him fall back, something just told me that something was wrong.
You know, I guess unless they're trying a different strategy here, because you know the way it's looking here, maybe I had the calculation wrong, because if these guys continue to go, you figure if somehow anybody can make it to lap, what would it be, 80 or maybe even lap 77 or above, they might be able to make it the rest of the way on that one stop. So maybe Andrew Nieder decided, you know what, I'm going to split this in 2 stops, get the most use out of my tires possible, and that way I don't really have to worry about saving or running a slower pace. Joshua Watson, he's still out, so like I said, if he can somehow keep that thing out for another 7 or 10 laps, I wouldn't think he can, but if he does, this may be a one stop for the 01 team.
It might well turn out to be that. As you see, the rookie there, the 66, I believe.
Yep, 2 rookies, Shane Parrish and Adrian Watts, paddling it out. Both of them showing a lot of speed here early. They're working by one of the lappers. That is Bill Benedict. Oh, yellow flag. Yellow flag is out.
Oh,
hold on just a second. This is going to change some things up.
Something told me it was the 48. I don't know why. I just saw him go by.
Not sure actually what brought it out. We'll have to see. Let's go back and take a look at it. 4th caution of the night, and falls just over halfway in this race. And we're looking for it here. I don't believe it was the 48, but I believe he may have went by it. So let's see if we can... see if we can see what... Oh, we got a smoker up there. That's... looking for who that was. It might be Richard Elliott. I'll tell you what. Let's go down here and see if you get a little better view with the pit cam. And this this is looking like he either got loose or he tried to make the pits and was maybe a little late on it. I think that is indeed Richard Elliott. Let's see if it is. Sure enough, I think that's who it's going to be. Watch the 0-2 here. This is coming out of turns 3 and 4. Oh, man. Gets on the apron looking for pit stops and just way too hot. Thing snaps around. And at this point, I think he's just lucky that he got away without a scratch. Good save, though. Keeps it from hitting the outside wall. Locks it up, though. Unfortunately, isn't going to make the pits properly, so that might be a penalty there. But no damage to the car. I think that's got to be a win-win scenario overall for the 0-2, as it also did draw the caution, so may not lose as much as he was going to. It's right on the cockpit view here.
It's really hard, too, to get off the apron.
Yeah, it's just that abrupt transition. Trying to get down there, he kind of maybe sat on a little too long, maybe had a little too much speed trying to make that transition, and the back end just snapped around on him.
And that's very common, too.
Absolutely. I'm surprised. We saw the 48 get a lockup earlier. I'm not sure if he had sped or not, but a lot of guys, Kansas is not the trickiest pit road, definitely not as tricky as Dover, but overall still a tricky one, and was pretty tricky there for Richard Elliott, who goes halfway around, and Giral's out the 4th caution of the night. Let's go back live and check out how the front top 10 are looking. Joshua Watson, he was still out on track at that point, so I would say this caution came at a pretty good time because he is going to get to go and take a fresh set of tires and fuel without having to do it under green, so he doesn't have to worry about making a mistake. Shane Parrish, the long-run strategy worked out. The only thing that I think slightly worries me with this guy is, does he maybe save a little too much on the short run? We'll have to watch it here, but he did tell me in his interview last week he thought he let too many guys go early on in that last run that we had under green, and that was the reason he couldn't catch back up towards the end, so we'll see what he does here. Adrian Watts currently sitting 3rd. Cody Colley, heck of a run for the 11, showed speed late at Dover. Up 2 from where he started, which overall you might say, well, that's not that impressive. That just means he was that fast in qualifying as well, qualifying 6th. And Brian Watson up 14 from where he started in 5th. And how about Johnny McCulchuk in 6th? Up 19. Joe Musso 7th, up 25. Those are some of your big movers in the field. And Ryan Haynes as well in 9th, up 21 positions. It's going to be, when we talked about, we're already over halfway, but what we saw early was cautions kind of bred cautions. We'll see if that's the case here or not. Looks like a decent amount of people are going to get their way around. I'll tell you what, see if we can draw up your current leader, Joshua Watson, and see if we can't get a quick word with him. Give me just a second. All right. Hey, Joshua, this is Austin and Daniel up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do, bud.
All right. Well, I mean, dude, you look so fast every week. I'm running out of interview questions for you, but you're looking fast here again tonight. We're just over halfway through, though, so still a pretty long way to go. And it looked like the 36 was hanging with you there for a little while. How important is clean air here at a track like Kansas?
It's very important. Dirty air, you can either get really loose or really tight, depending on where you are and who you're running behind. You really don't want to try to stay tucked up behind somebody, because taking the air off, you'll start sliding the fronts. So you want to move around, and I think just being out in the clean air really helped us there, and just managing our tires and staying on the bottom.
And the last question that a lot of people watching are probably curious about, well, first of all, you're kind of boxed in by rookies here, but how about those two? But either way, if we have, looks like you're not quite good to go, are you going to have to pit again, or can you somehow stretch it?
We're going to be cutting it close as long as we don't have green-white checkers. Right now, they're telling me I'm about 4 to the good under caution while we're saving, so we'll see how it plays out, and hopefully we can make it and maybe pull off another W here.
All right, well, it's going to get exciting, and I would not be surprised if we're talking to you at the end, but good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
And that is Joshua Watson, currently going to be leading them back to green, and you know, he didn't seem fazed by it. I guess why would you if you have 5 wins on the season? But as we talked about, he is going to be boxed in by 2 rookies here. And although the rookies have shown a lot of speed, you got to wonder if they're a little bit of inexperience and they maybe get into too much of a battle here and potentially bring out a caution or just mess each other up.
Well, what you want to do is, for a rookie, first off, you don't want to make, what should I say, really bad mistakes on these restarts. I would stay kind of cool, calm, and collective. As you see the inside lane getting a great restart here of the 03 pushing the 01 of Watson. As you see the rookie falling back now, battling for second.
And Kansas is certainly one of those tracks that you can do that at. You can get those pushes. You got a pretty long ways before you get down into turn one. Adrian Watts took advantage of that, and by doing so, he got himself lined up. All right, we'll keep an eye on Shane Parrish's position. You see right now he's sitting in third. Looks like he is going to lose that. But again, one of those guys, he likes to really, really be conservative, save tire. He'll strike if we get another long run, but you know, you don't want to be too careful here. We do have less than 60 laps to go. That is a long run, but if he falls, too far back in the field, then all of a sudden we get a caution about halfway through this. Then you got to ask yourself, well, darn, we don't really have a long run to go now, and do I have enough time to make up all positions? Ooh, 3 wide. That's Jacob Musso in the middle of Alan Pajari and Austin Fitzgerald. They get it sorted out before they get down to turn 3. Danny Gutierrez. Look like Brian Conklin. I think Brian, we saw in a wreck earlier, he is still not on the lead lap, trying to recover from it. Danny Gutierrez, he's looking to make up some positions. Ooh, man, somebody got really tight. I think they kept it off the wall. Big momentum from the outside, though, as we go back up front. Adrian Watts still hanging within a 10th. But I'll tell you what, he's doing that thing that as a driver, I know it's tempting, but you can't really do it, and that is riding the bottom. Because although he feels grip right now, Daniel, we know that he's just wearing his tires out a lot more running in that dirty air.
That's the thing here at Kansas Motor Speedway that tricks the drivers there. As you see, the 01 is now under fire from the 03 of Watts. Let's see what Watts can do. Is he going to go outside here? No, he's going to stay right behind him. But I have a feeling Watts is going to make a move very soon.
Absolutely, and we still got a long ways to go, but Joshua Watson, being one of the veterans in the league, I would not be surprised if he needs to later on in this run. You'll see him he'll try to match the line. We certainly saw that in the real-life Kansas race, and I know it's probably redundant, but when we keep talking about dirty air, what's the best way to defend a guy without putting yourself in a tough position? Well, that's simply to just take his line away so that he can't turn as good as he would like to. Of course, your car is going to turn a lot better being out in front. But I think Adrian Watts is making Joshua Watson's job a lot easier than it needs to be right now by running the bottom. You see, he is able to get a little bit lower that time. I'm not sure if Joshua Watson meant to do that or what. He's got a good run here. Is he going to take it? No, he's not. He's just going to give him a little shot as they get down into turn 3. And Brian Watson, he showed a lot of speed here late in the going. We saw him fast at Speed Weeks at the start of the season as well. He currently sits in 3rd.
I was kind of a little shocked there. I thought Watson was going to take that lead there for a second. I thought he was going to take that run, but obviously he didn't. He just gave the 01.
Well, your top 3 right now are Watson, Watts, and Watson. So you got the rookie in between the 2 veterans, but the 36 of Andrew Nieder, we thought maybe he messed up. Well, it doesn't matter because he's going to get a fresh start here, back up into the top 5. Shane Parrish, he's doing a pretty good job right now. I'm not sure how much tire he's saving, but he's kept himself in the top 5 so far during this run. He has not overused his stuff just yet. See if he's got something for the long run. Cody Colley still hanging on to the top 10 in 7th. Johnny McCulloch 8th. Carl Dotson back up to 9th. And Andrew Kotsko, we saw get into the wall at one point earlier. Not too bad. He currently sits in 10th, and he's got his 2 Mad Sim Racing teammates behind him. Jerry Isaacs in 11th. Cody Richardson in 12th. Oh, man, the 93. Ooh, that was close. Joe Musso almost came down on Alan Pajari, and he would have been going straight to that inside wall. Ooh, Danny Gutierrez. I think he might have got up into that outside wall. I think he's going to be all right, but, man, what do you take of the racing back here now, Daniel?
I think the racing is very exciting right now, I would say. They're racing really hard, side by side. You see the 48 there who's been struggling earlier on in the race, but is now looking like he's pretty stable right now. But, I mean, if this pack racing back here, I wouldn't want to be back here right now because if somebody makes a little mistake, that is going to probably cost you the win here.
Absolutely, and Jeff Marble is probably really nervous right now, and he kind of got caught on the bad end of the stick, it looks like, with that caution, because he got trapped somewhere back here outside the top 20, and man, even if he saves tires to make up what would be 15 positions-ish before he'd even be back in the top 5, just wouldn't have any tire left. And man, this has been what's happened to Jeff the last probably handful of weeks, and you start to feel for him because he brings a fast car to the track every week. He plays the strategy right, but then that caution always beats him out at some point or another during the race, and looking like that may happen here again at Kansas tonight, at least if we go green the rest of the way. Is just not sure if he can make up that many positions with only one pit stop to go, maybe not according to what we heard from Joshua Watson. But He's certainly not able to save any fuel right now, not if he wants to keep the lead, because Adrian Watts continues to stick it to him. Brian Watson, Andrew Neidhart back here battling a little bit. Looks like Andrew is back to the top line, and it worked out pretty well for him, I'd say, overall for the short to medium run. But man, we got to the long run last time. We saw it really start to hurt that 36 car. So I'm a little surprised to see him up here, but I don't know. What do you think? You think he's going for the clean air?
I don't know, Austin. He's been running that high lane for a while now. I've been keeping an eye on him. And he is moving forward on that high lane there. As you see, he is now going to take away the 04 Watson's place now. I don't know what he's been doing. He's been hanging up there, but he's doing really good. As you see right behind him, it looks like the 66 rookie of Paris. That is another driver that I've been watching, and he's been impressing me. And like you mentioned last weekend at Dover, he was doing really good, and now he's doing really good here at Kansas. So I would hope he would win tonight. I just don't think it's going to happen, but I do see him getting another top 10.
Well, as you were talking there, Andrew Neidhart took a pretty good smack into the outside wall out of turn 4, and you could see visible scrapes on that 36 machine. It looked like he was still a little loose there as well in 1 and 2, where Shane Parrish probably did not like seeing that. But let's see if we can see it here. Watch as he goes by the right side. And couldn't really tell from that view. It was a little too blurry. But yeah, the 36 definitely got it to the outside wall, but looks like that thing's still pretty good speed. I think you can get away with a little bit of damage if they're just on the sides or the rear. The main place you don't want it is anywhere on the front or the sides towards the front. He's going to be okay here. Shane Parrish still sitting behind these two. You got to wonder, is he still saving tire? Let's see if we can take a ride on board with Shane and see what it's sounding like. And again, when we ride on board, listen for the squealing. The louder you hear those tires, maybe I shouldn't say squealing, maybe scrubbing, if you will, that's more tire they're using up. If you hear a guy, you don't really hear the tires. And you hear it pretty faint. I'd say he's doing a pretty good job considering he's in traffic. Let's compare that to your leader, Joshua Watson, who has Adrian Watts right on his back bumper as they go down into turn 3. I'll tell you what, it sounds pretty close. Of course, they are running similar lines, so I guess you would expect so. But 88 laps in, and we're going to take a quick break, but we will go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Back live at Kansas Motor Speedway for the Kansas Spring 200 in the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series, 92 of 134 laps complete. Joshua Watson has by far led the most of them. The rookie is still continuing to stick it to him, Adrian Watson. Sooner or later, I cannot refer to him as the rookie anymore because he is making some of these veterans look like they are the rookies. He is having a heck of a run here tonight, and it's not a fluke. He was fast last week, been fast all day so far here tonight. The good thing is those two are teammates, and, you know, thinking about it, that might have been why earlier when he had a chance, maybe he didn't go by his teammate. They might just be trying to gap the rest of the field, saving a little bit, as you saw Andrew Neidhart up top, but he might be slowly starting to fade a little bit. At what lap here, or what lap in the run do you think we start to see the tires fade?
I'm going to have to say around lap 110, 115, I'm going to assume that these drivers' tires are going to start wearing down again. And once they start wearing down again, you're going to see these drivers struggle to move positions here and try to gain positions on the leader here. But I mean, the 01 has been strong all night and he's still dominating this race, which doesn't shock me. But once your tires start wearing out, forget about taking that lead because it's going to be really hard.
You know, I was kind of wondering here. I think we saw Brett Spod maybe in an incident earlier. I've been sitting here pondering for a couple laps where he got so much damage. Only thing you can assume is that he was indeed caught up in one of those accidents earlier. Tracy Powers, saw him towards the front earlier. He is now back here racing with some of these guys. Looks like Cody Richardson currently up in 15th. They are trying to lap that 25 as well right now. The leader already has. Jeff Marble up to 16th, but I mean, man, that's 5-6 spots when we last checked on him, but all the dirty air that he's going through trying to get these positions, doing it very methodically and professionally. But ooh, man, Cody Richardson slid right up in front of him there. That was really close. Jeff Marble made sure he gave him a bumper full right there, was not going to let him know. Well, slide up in front of me if you want a chance at finishing this race clean. The 31 in the middle there, he got some damage. He was actually in that first caution. That is Matthew Gearinger, of course. Oh man, Cody Richardson slides up in front of another guy. And that's the second time now in 2 sets of corners that Cody has tried to slam the door on someone, and it has almost ended poorly. The 31 hangs on to it as well, and he's going to try the bottom this time. I think Cody really needed to get to that top side, and that's why he slammed the door. He's going to get a little momentum, though, here down the front stretch as we are approaching lap 197 of 134 complete. And guess who? Shane Parrish. I'll tell you what, Daniel, it looks like he's starting to pick up a little speed here.
And that's why I said let's keep an eye on this driver as a rookie in this Cup Series. He's been getting better and better, and that's what all that matters. And you don't want to start off with getting bad reputation and whatnot from these other drivers. And so far, he's proven them wrong that he does belong here in the Cup Series. And look at him, he's trying to get to that lead.
And as we are approaching lap 100, I think now is a good time. Oh, we got one. We spun down the backstretch here. I think whoever it was, they might have saved that. I saw a little smoke. That was the only thing that made me question anything, but it looks like everybody's doing all right. Don't have anything showing anybody spun out, and we, of course, do not have caution. And on that note, I think now is a good time for Kansas Crank It Up. Here we go. And that's going to do it for tonight's segment of Crank It Up, because what we almost saw there was almost a caution. Looked like the 39 of Ryan Haynes had his hands full. Saw some 3 wide in the back, and we were just switching to it when the incident kind of occurred. Not sure exactly what happened, but we saw some 3 wide racing, and usually 3 wide and old tires don't mix together too well. Good thing, though, was everybody held on. Looking back here, Shane Parrish looking for a move here. The 66 looking to go by the other rookie in the field. Joshua Watson's teammate Adrian Watson. It looks like, is he going to get clear? He does. The 66, he's up to second. We've talked about probably the hottest young driver right now in the sense of been the fastest in terms of long runs. Adrian Watson, though, not going to go down without a fight, especially if it would mean benefiting his teammate. Not going to have anything there, though. And now Shane Parrish, he is going to have 31 laps to go, this time at the line, to track down your leader. And I'll tell you what, at this point, Daniel, as a rookie in the field, I mean, he certainly has experience, over 4,000 iRating, but he's going to be going against a veteran of over 5,500 iRating. You got to be careful. You don't want to overdo your tires, and you just got to do it one lap by lap here.
That's all that matters. You just want to just try your best. Even finishing second would be pretty good for your rookie season here in the Cup Series. Again, trying to pass the 01 here in Kansas, it's going to be really hard. But if he does do it, this is going to be a shocking. This is going to be pretty shocking for all of us.
And, you know, even as a rookie, and, you know, you were fast last week, and, of course, you're fast this week, you kind of have two mindsets about it. You might be saying to yourself, oh, well, you know, I'll be fast next week. Second's fine. But you never know when you'll have a shot to get that next win. The series has been too competitive. We have seen too many guys, when unexpected, all of a sudden had a fast car. So I think if you got a shot at a win, you got to do everything you can for it. And this might come down to the last lap, hard to say, but the gap for the lead is under a second at 7/10. Joshua Watson with clean air, maybe saving a little bit. They said he's 4 laps to the good. You got to assume the rest of the field that pitted, including Shane Parrish, are all in the same boat. He is still ticking off lap times, I'll tell you what. He might get down to 6/10. He is also still sitting on the bottom. The thing is, though, when he gets up to the back bumper of the 01, I'm not sure if that bottom's going to work so well anymore. He might have to migrate to the top and turn, wear down his tires a little more.
He might have to do that. And he's only 6/10 back, like you said. So with like 30 laps to go here, I have a feeling he's going to catch him. And if he does catch him, he's going to have a one-shot opportunity. Oh my God, I can't speak. He's going to have a one-shot opportunity against the 01.
Absolutely. Looking back here a little bit, this is Carl Dotson and Alan Pajari. We saw Pajari get a little bit loose there off turn 4, and that's usually a signal of what is to come for the rest of these drivers. And we still have just under 30 laps to go here, so that's a decent amount of time for guys to start getting loose. And we saw some guys getting really out of shape there towards the end of that last long run. You never know. We could very well be getting set up here for a late caution. Of course, I don't have any trends on Kansas like Larry Mack does in real life, but I would certainly not rule it out of the factor. Here's a look now at the 51, Mad Sim Racing's Jerry Isaacs. Currently sits in 15th. This is a good finish for him. He's got his teammate Cody Richardson just in front in 14th. And Jeff Marble, you know, I'll tell you what, at this point, I could not tell you whether or not he's open for a caution, but no matter where this thing ends, for this guy to have already made up over 7 positions from as far back in the field as he is, and I don't know if he's done just yet, is a very impressive run. And although it's, oh, and just as I say that, guess what we are going to get? That's a yellow flag. It looks like it is Jerry Isaacs. Looking for what happened to him here. Oh, Andrew Kotska's on the pits. We're looking for him right now. Still have yet to find, there he is. And he is back rolling.
Wow.
Oh, man, front end is destroyed. That looks like an inside wall hit to me. But we'll have to see. Flat. Oh, boy, it is going to be under 25 laps to go, and we go green. I think everybody's going to have one more set of stickers to stick on it, and this is going to get wild. But first, let's sort out what happens here. Ooh, 93.
Comes up.
Not quite clear there. I think he was trying to tuck in behind. Yep, sure enough, looked like he came up. Gets in the 51, and, man, they kind of stuck together for a little while there. Oh, the 93. I know where this is going to head. It's going to be a pretty big shot for the 93. Oh, man. Big hit into the inside in the 51 here as well. Nowhere to go. Pretty solid contact. Wow, the 93 destroyed the front end of that thing. Let's take another look. That was a big, big hit for Joe Musso.
Yeah, that totally destroyed the front end of that car. That's going to do it.
So from the chopper view here, you got to assume that's what this was. I guess maybe kind of similar to what we saw earlier, but almost opposite. Where this time, oh, and back that up. Play it a little slower if we can here. I'll tell you what I think happened. I think he was going for a side draft, and the 51 maybe came off the wall just slightly. That's what it looks like. right as he was going for a side draft, the 51 maybe just ever so slightly came off the wall, and that's where they made contact. And then it was on from there. Watch this hit. Boom. Nowhere to run, and that is certainly going to be terminal damage. He is not going to have any speed. I guess the good news is his front bumper chased itself back to the car and hopped right back on board. So that's certainly something. Give you one more final view of it here from the blimp cam. Man, Jerry Isaacs, the hard thing about spinning here is, you know, sometimes you kind of think to yourself, do I lock it down? Do I try to keep driving it? You never know. I mean, you try to keep driving it. It doesn't come back around. You're going to hit the wall a lot harder, do a lot more damage. But you lock it down. You think maybe you'll be able to stop the time. You don't. Then you're thinking to yourself, well, I had a couple chances to maybe let it roll, but nothing that either driver could really do there. A racing incident, but either way brings out a caution. And, you know, normally I got to tell you, I think Jeff Marble would be pulling his hair out. Not sure in this case. Kind of a medium run, but didn't I mention this earlier? I said, what happens if we get a caution at some point? I was talking about that would be the time where Shane Parrish would have to make sure he didn't lose too much. He did his job, did not lose too much. Maybe he would have tracked down the leader. Now it's going to be interesting with probably 22, maybe 21 to go, depending on when we get the one to go here. It'd be interesting to see. I think it's going to be a battle for the lead from here, and I think you really only have to save tire for maybe 5 to 10 laps at most here. And I think you're good to start getting up and ripping the wall and seeing who can run the fastest laps here for the rest of the way.
Yeah, and I want to say something about Paris quick. I mean, he is a rookie here. I mean, also, what are we expecting out of this rookie on this restart? You think he's going to be very aggressive, trying to take that lead, possibly getting the win now that we are in the closing laps here during this race? Or do you think he's going to just try to stay cool here?
Well, oddly enough, I think if it was any other rookie, I would say he's going for it, but he's showed a lot of calm and collectiveness. I think he's going to play it smart here. I think the only difference we'll see from him for this restart versus the last one is I think maybe he'll try to hold on maybe a couple more track positions than what he gave up on the last run. On the opposite end of the spectrum, I think Adrian Watts might turn up the heat a little bit on his teammate right here. Last time we saw him cut him a couple breaks, looked like he had a couple opportunities to maybe tuck to the inside, look for a pass. He didn't. He just stayed behind and was watching Joshua Watson do what he does best, and that is lead and try to win races. The 36 of Andrew Niedert, I think he's one of the drivers that benefits from this late caution because we know he likes to run the wall. And it looked pretty fast. The only downside was if you run it for too long, of course, you start to lose speed. Carl Dotson, he's back up here. He's got a little damage from an earlier incident, but doesn't look like enough to be affecting him, as of course he is sitting in 7th. Alan Pajari 8th, 9th. Scott Glasso, Tyler Marble rounding out the top 10. And looking around, let's see if maybe we can pull. And actually, I think we're going to go ahead and hold off. Normally we'd pull somebody in here, but between the time we replayed, a little bit of talking afterwards, I don't want to pull any of these guys in too late, as of course they are going to be going to green this time. And I don't know if we're done with cautions, because I think this is going to be the craziest restart we've seen so far. And Cody Colley sitting in 6th. I think he's got a shot. And Johnny Mikulchuk in the top 5. This by far could be a season, just outside the top 5, excuse me. This could very well be his season best. And in the top 5, he has a shot for a win here, depending on how much speed that 72 machine can crank out here over the next 21 laps.
I think this is going to be anybody's race here on this restart. I do expect to see the 36 and the 66 to make some pretty heavy moves here on these two front drivers, so we're about to see what happens here, but I don't think this is going to be the last caution. I could be wrong, but I think there's going to be a lot more.
Nah, these guys are all going to be way too aggressive. No shot. Good restart, though, for the outside. Adrian Watts actually gets a nose out in front of his teammate. Shane Parrish not able to give a push to the 01 of Joshua Watson. They both dive down into turn 1. This is going to be the battle for the lead. You got to think the 03 race is a little harder this time. Joshua Watson, though, he does get clear on the bottom. Watch for Andrew Niedert up top. So the screen just went a little blank for a second as we get back to full screen here. Shane Parrish, keep an eye on that 66. Can't fall too far back here. He's got a battle, but I think that top line is really going to prevail. And guess who was the fastest man on it earlier? That's the man that we saw getting a wreck, but he's back up here, and he is still running it. Carl Dotson in the 29. If he can get past these two, he might have a shot at the lead, as well as Adrian Watts looking to the inside this time. Thought I almost saw a little contact further back there. 3 wide. There goes Carl Dotson on the top. Big move. Oh, the 66 gets into him. Can Shane Parrish save it? He does. It looks like at least. Oh, man, he's still trying to hold on to it. Oh, there goes all the positions, but what a save for the 66.
That is a shame. He was going to get such a good finish.
A shame, but a lesson that the rookie's going to learn. Just a little bit of a mistake down the backstretch. Mistake that unfortunately came at the worst time possible. These guys are still going at it 3 wide. That's Cody Colley on the bottom. He's got to be a little careful. That's what we saw with the 66. Get a little tight off the turn, but yep. Carl Dotson, ooh, does the 03. The 03 opened up the outside. Carl Dotson says, thank you very much. Ooh, big side draft for the 29 down into turn 3. He's going to move all the way up to the top. Down the front stretch here. Does he have enough to maybe cross over the 03? Wow, Adrian Watts holds him off.
I don't think it's over yet. I mean, this 29, we saw him earlier in this race. The huge runs, I got him into a little instant there. But he's running that top lane with the 36. Very smooth right now, as you see the front 2 running the bottom lane. But look at the run the 29 is about to get on this 03.
And you would think the good thing here for as well for Carl Dotson is it looked like for the most part he was the only one running the top. Actually, he's going to go back down to the bottom here. A little surprised, but being the only one in the top, or the first one in the top rather, you get the cleanest air. And you would think maybe the tires last a couple laps longer for him than anybody running the top behind him, but Andrew Nieder would like to see that 29 stay low. It's interesting. He's running the top in 1 and 2, the bottom in 3 and 4. You got to wonder if part of that is the fact that you're running a lot faster when you dive down into turns 1 and 2 than you do in 3 and 4, so maybe carry a little bit more momentum. I'm not sure, but I'd almost think I'd want the momentum for that long front straightaway, but Carl Dotson back on the bottom.
This is pretty intense battling going on from here from P1 all the way back to P10 right now. As you see, the 01 still leading this whole pack here. But look at the 29. I still can't get over the fact that he got into an incident in the beginning of the race, and now he's back up here competing for the win.
Andrew Nieder still fighting, but they got a lot of hungry dogs coming up on him. That is Alan Pajari in the 34. Looking at the low side, Scott Glasso. Looking at the top. Oh, there's contact. The 4's around. He saves it, does he? Oh, man. Oh, back into the outside wall.
Whoa.
And do they hold on to it? Oh, we got a big wreck. Big wreck.
Again.
Oh, man, this one collects a bunch of guys.
Triggers the big one here of turn 4. Is that the 93 once again?
Looked like it. No, this is the 95 this time. That's Jacob Musso, who was having a decent run. But, man.
Wow.
I tell you what, if Scott Glasso could have saved it, that would have been incredible, but couldn't quite do it.
This is going to make it even worse now that he starts. Oh, my.
Wow, well, the 95, I don't know if there's a piece on the front of that car that is actually working. Does it look like the suspension wasn't even on the ground? Yeah, sure enough, he's going to exit the vehicle on that one. Looks like all the drivers did drop the window net in this case. That's what we'd like to hear, but let's go back and take a look at where this all started. This was Scott Glasso, but actually it wasn't Scott's fault. He was doing a terrific job. Got a little help here from Cody Colley as looked like maybe, let's back this up a little bit. Brian Watson maybe with a little bit of a late dive here. You know, nothing. Ooh, and I'll tell you what, I think Scott Glasso didn't expect the 04 to be down there, so he ran lower, and the 11 kind of just didn't have anywhere to go. He kind of had to wash up a little bit. I think the 4 would have needed to be up out a lane higher, but of course, as we were saying there, I don't think he really knew that there was anything going on. And then, man, watch the hands here first. This was what we thought was going to be the initial save, and then unfortunately you'll see at the end of this, not quite. I mean, the initial save was extremely impressive, but just couldn't quite keep it under him. I think maybe...
Yeah, I think it was
go ahead.
Incredible save. Yeah, I was going to say that's a pretty incredible save, but I don't think that's what caused the wreck.
Sure enough, I don't think it was. So actually, Scott Glasso, we will say it was a hell of a save. Pardon my language there, but heck of a save, if you will. But yeah, let's see what happens behind. It's, of course, going to be a chain reaction because of the wreck, if you will. But, ooh, there's the 46 of Cody Richardson, and there's Shane Parrish, who was in that position because of, well, the incident he was in earlier. Let's see, did these two make contact? Oh, man, they barely escaped danger. Oh man.
Oh, he had to check up.
The 95 to keep from missing the 4. I'll tell you what, that is a, there's a word for it. I just can't find it. When you just kind of sacrifice his own car, and, you know, if he was thinking on the fly, that's an impressive move. I think he realized that he was either going to be hitting a car and destroying his car or hitting the wall and only destroying his car. And he made the decision to save Scott Glasso's night. But, man, big impact into the outside wall. And then all the rest of these guys with just absolutely nowhere to go. You saw Ryan Shiro, he came flying in. A couple more views of it here.
Bam.
And the 20 going for a pretty long slide here.
I think either way, the 95 was going to end up wrecking anyway, because he just had nowhere to go.
Absolutely. You know, you commit to a lane at a track like Kansas, you're just running way too fast to all of a sudden slam on the brakes, or just, you know, even in that case, if you try to make a sudden movement, these cars, they don't really like that too well, and try to make a movement that was a little too sudden, and now both Musos have been involved in a heavy frontal impact crash. Not a great night for the Musso speed shop, but we will see if they can recover. Thinking about it here, nobody should have had a set of tires left. Of course, everybody came with 3. So we wouldn't expect anybody to have pit for tires, and not sure why you'd really pit for gas at this point. Looking at the track temp, it has cooled down now. We saw it get up to 126 at one point, down to 115. Still partly cloudy skies. Of course, that 13-mile-an-hour wind. Looks like we're going to get 1 to go here, and this time, before it's too late, let's see if we can pull in somebody just for a quick interview. So we look to get 1 to go this time. Let's look for, tell you what, let's see if we can talk to Carl Dotson. Boy, he's had a roller coaster of a night. Hey, Carl, this is Austin and Daniel up in the booth. Got a copy?
I sure do.
Well, I mean, you have had a heck of a night in terms of a roller coaster night, all the way to the back after contact with Sean Kaltenbach. But now you're back to the front, and we saw you ripping the wall, the place you were so fast earlier. Do you think you have enough to maybe give it to Joshua Watson and take the win at Kansas?
I don't know at this point. I had over 2.5 minutes, almost 3 minutes of damage I had to fix. So now I'm just trying to get a good finish. My tire pressure finally came up there. I thought I might have something, but we'll have to see. I'm on the low side, and I really don't like it. So if nothing else, at least I got me some Trust Me vodka for after the race.
All right, well, that sounds like a good plan. Hey, good luck the rest of the way, and we'll see if maybe you can somehow get your first win of the season here at Kansas.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
We'll move Carl Dotson back down to his respective team here as they get ready to get started. And for some reason here, always the hardest part, Daniel's going to lead us to green, though, here on the commentating side as I continue to work Carl Dotson back to his team.
As you see the 01 of Watson on the outside lane. Here they go. Green flags back in the air here at Kansas Motor Speedway. This could be the final restart to determine the winner here. But we are dead even as we are heading into turn 1. Still side by side. Nothing changing here as you see the 03 taking the advantage there. He's going to look like he's going to slide up a little bit in the 01 tags a little bit into the wall. That 01 is still hungry, but look at the 29. He's been very strong, too. Let's see what he can do.
Ooh, Andrew Niedert's going to have a big run if he plays it right here. They stall out. Here comes the 36. Oh, he gets into the wall. The 36. Oh, man, he would have had a big run. He still has a run somehow. But here comes Carl Dotson looking at the low side. The Adrian Watts, the rookie, on the bottom. He helped his teammate quite a bit tonight, but now it's go time. The 01. First time we've seen him up top, and you got to wonder if not really doing the top too much tonight's going to hurt him in this case. The 36 of Andrew Nieder now side by side with the 03 who looked for a side draft, couldn't get it to work. And now back to the bottom goes the JBR E-Racing duo. 10 laps to go, though, here. The rest of the field still continuing to battle it out fiercely. There's the 64 of Glenn Grigsby. He's still having a pretty good run in 18th position. Ratsnet's back here, but we're going to keep the action up front. Joshua Watson takes the lead, and he likes what he sees. He sees his teammate battling that 36 Team Watson Racing driver, and by doing so, 36 of Andrew Nieder may not have enough time or tires to get there.
And that's what's really sketchy here at Kansas Motor Speedway. If you use your tires up way too early with like 10 to go, let's say it's 10 to go right now, and you use your tires all up, you are not going to have a tire spread.
8 laps to go now at Kansas. Joshua Watson still holding the lead. That's Adrian Watts still running the bottom. Andrew Nieder up top. Carl Dotson in the middle. Ooh, looked like the 34 of Alan Pajari. Maybe got a little tight. No contact ensued. The 34 tucks in behind. There's Danny Gutierrez. He's going to duck out below his teammate Brian Watson. Shane Parrish in the 66. Good recovery. He's back up to 8th. Still a long ways to go, though, and I just don't think he's got enough time. Adrian Watts still working the bottom. I just don't think it's going to work. Ooh, little contact for the back. They got 3 wide. Are they going to keep it together? Ooh, big wiggle. That's Cody Richardson in the 46. Back to the top. He holds on. That is not a very good place to get loose. The highest speed area of the course. Man, that was another wicked save. We have seen a couple of those tonight up front. The 03 still working the bottom. And I'll tell you what, I think Joshua Watson knew he had speed up top. He was just waiting until he absolutely had to go up there to do it. And the 03's only chance right now, Daniel, I think he's going to have to try the slide job.
And if there's a slide job that's going to happen, that third place car is going to be in the perfect spot to win that race.
Absolutely, but talking more about the slide job, you know, a lot of people would say save it for 3 and 4. I think I like the idea of maybe trying it in 1 and 2 because you have a lot more speed getting into 1 and 2, and it's going to be easier to complete that slide job diving it in than it would be in 3 and 4. But at the same time, these two are teammates. You know they're going to race each other very respectfully, and you got to wonder, do they have a chance? I saw Jeff Marble at one point jockeying around a little bit further back, racing his teammate Tyler Marble. That is the battle currently for 10th. Not sure if he's going to be able to get him. How about Sean Kaltenbach? Just as we talked about Carl Dotson, look at the damage. We saw him at least a lap down. I thought he got maybe more than that earlier. And he is back up here all the way up to almost 7th in 8th place. I'm not sure if he had new tires or what, but he is making up ground here. And could somehow Sean Kaltenbach recover to a top 5? This is incredible.
This is very incredible as you see the 01 still in the lead, but this ain't over yet. We still got plenty of racing here to go. Don't forget, third place car is in the victory spot right now if these two wreck. So we'll see how this shakes
we got wrecking out back.
Oh, there's a wreck behind. Looks like it's the rookie of the 66, if I believe.
Yellow flag is out. We're looking for it right now. It is not giving me an easy time finding it. Oh, Shane Parrish has immediately towed it. Not sure if we had anybody else in it. We'll take a look at it. Looked like there may have been a couple other guys in it. And, you know, Shane Parrish, unfortunately, that mistake kind of got him back to that spot. And it seems like it happens so many times in this series. You get yourself back there, and then unfortunately you can't crawl out of that hole. But, you know, this means, Daniel, we are going to be going to overtime. Things are about to get absolutely wild. But let's take a look at this caution here. Going to go to Shane Parrish here as that was the main driver collected in it. Oh. And, man, I tell you what, I'm going to feel a little sad here if Sean Kaltenbach got in it because, boy, he was impressing me with the fact that after all the hard work he had to put in today to somehow get back up here, I thought his race was done. I thought maybe he'd be looking for a top 20 at most. And, oh, man, that's a tough one. Looks like the 08 of Danny Gutierrez. This is one of those things that rookies kind of have to learn, too. The 08, more of a veteran, he says, I'm giving you that one lane. That's all you're getting, the 66. Not sure if he just lost the nose or was just a little tight, but he's going to get up into Danny Gutierrez. And Sean Kaltenbach, that little speed difference, he's going to maybe try to sneak around the inside, but he couldn't quite do it. Gives a bump to the 66, and that's actually what causes the wreck. They seemed fine on the initial contact, but then when the two got into the back of the 66, some more contact ensued, and looks like that is ultimately what spun the 66 around. And he actually didn't hit anything, so I'm really surprised that he towed. Unless somehow he got DQ'd, but there's no chance. He certainly didn't have that many contact points. Interesting thought there. I'm not sure why you would tow if you don't have a damaged car. That's going to be a lot more time wasted than if you were to just drive it on back. Take a couple more views here. I think he was indeed the only one that got in it well, which is good news, as it looks like BB's in the chat. How's it going, BB? Good to see you. Mark said earlier, you got tires, use them up. And Paige Buemi said earlier, go Cody Colley. And it looks like, wow, Danny Gutierrez survived it. Everyone survived it. I'll tell you what, that's, you know, we don't like to see cars getting wrecked, but if we're going to see a caution that's going to make for an exciting finish, what better way to do it than not damaging any of the cars that are going to be involved in it? That is for certain. Going back live, though, up front, Joshua Watson may have thought he was just about to get that thing wrapped up. He's going to have to try to do it again here. He's going to have to hold off. His teammate, Adrian Watt's going to be starting on the outside. Andrew Nieder and Alan Pajari making up row 2. Carl Dotson in 5th. Danny Gutierrez 6th. Sean Kaltenbach still up here in 7th. If he's got new tires, you never know. Maybe the 2's got something. Tyler Marble 8th. Brian Watson 9th. And Jeff Marble rounding out the top 10.
Well, all I can say is that now that we are going into overtime here in Kansas City, is just going to get wilder and wilder and more crazy, and I can't wait to see how this is going to play out.
And this is one of those things where practice is so important because you figure you can train as many laps as you want, trying to run as fast of lap strategy, whatever, but all the laps we ran tonight, think about it this way, none of that mattered because it all came down to what is going to be these 2 laps. Quick reminder, the overtime rules for anybody that doesn't remember them. It is going to be 2 laps. If we can make it to the white flag, this race will be official. iRacing will not throw a caution no matter what happens on that white flag lap. However, if these guys pile up before and the caution draws out, we will rack them up and try to do it again. And let's get some of the announcements that we haven't talked about earlier, starting with the schedule upcoming for the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. Next week, we head to Darlington, one of the exciting, difficult tracks, and we are going to see what happens. Darlington is where we head next week, 147 laps. North Wilkesboro after that for the All-Star race. Then we go back to Charlotte for the No Bull 5 race. One of the No Bull 5 races, if you will. It's actually the 3rd one of the season. We saw Danny Gutierrez win that first one at Daytona, and then we went to Talladega, where we saw Sean Kaltenbach win that one. Gateway after that on 6-5 Sonoma, and it's a bye week. Nashville to be determined, and then back to Hotlanta, New Hampshire following. Leading the points right now is the man leading the race. That's Joshua Watson. Jeff Marble in 2nd. Tyler Marble 3rd. Cody Richardson 4th. A little bit of an out-of-characteristic run for him tonight. Still looking good in points, though. Austin Fitzgerald getting that win in Atlanta earlier in the season. He currently sits in the top 5 as well. Andrew Nieder at 6th. Alan Pajari 7th. Carl Dotson 8th. Andrew Kotska 9th. And Scott Naslin rounding out the top 10. And final announcement for the race is where we head next on Ghost Racing Network. And that is over to the PGR Intimidator Super Speedway Series on Thursday. Actually, we're subbing in for Bryce this week on Wednesday. I did forget to mention that for the Four Corners Racing League. So for some reason, anybody out here watching is going to be watching that race. You will see me in it this week instead of Bryce. He will be back next week. Just covering for this one. Then we head over to PGR for the Intimidator Super Speedway Series. BB says, hello, Baker. It's kind of funny because I don't think BB knows yet, but it's actually not Baker that's in the booth with me tonight. It's Daniel, but we certainly have appreciated having him here, and we're going to have him for hopefully this final restart. The 01 on the bottom. Adrian Watts up top. The pace car pulls off into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air.
As you see the 01 getting a great restart there, and instantly is much better form than the outside lane as we are heading into turn 1. Don't forget, we just need to get to the white flag for this race to be official. As you see, the 01 of Watson getting that nice run, but look at the 03 and the 36 Fallon. The 36 goes low. He's saving it as he comes right back up the track. Oh,
that's not going to end well. There goes the 08. Oh, it's going to be a big wreck. Jeff Marble nowhere to go.
Yeah,
they're all piling in. Oh, big wreck.
Oh, wow. Oh, there goes some of these bumpers off.
Austin Fitzgerald spinning to the inside. There's Johnny McCulchuk. I think both Marbles might have been in it. Tyler Marble for sure. Yikes. Just when you think we're about to finish this thing up. Oh my goodness. You see the 08's wheel. The thing is destroyed. His night will be done for sure. Johnny McCulchuk with heavy damage as well. And you kind of saw that developing. I'll tell you what, and there goes a piece of his car. I kind of foreshadowed that caution, if you will, right there. As soon as on the backstretch we saw the incident with the 36, because this late in the race, you guys, they don't let up, and you kind of knew it was all going to condense back down. And unfortunately, once it did, I believe this is going to start with Brian Watson. Just does the 36 get? No, the 36 never gets into him. You know, I'm not sure if Brian Watson. My thought here, and tell me what you think about this, Daniel. But I'm thinking Brian Watson had saw the 36, and he was trying to shoot by, so maybe tried to hold the throttle a little bit longer into the corner here than he should have. And it worked in sneaking by the 36. Unfortunately, didn't work right here as he gets into the 08. And, man, Danny Gutierrez, who was having a heck of a night, just absolutely nothing he could do right here. Tries to save it, but just too many guys that are just 3-4 wide. Just not going to work out. Jeff Marble's going to get some right side damage. And this is where the real wreck is going to start from here. There goes the 48 of Tyler Marble. He's going to get into the outside wall pretty hard. And then everybody else piling in behind.
Just on from there. That's a hard hit to the 48.
See, it all just kind of condenses up to the top. That's what usually happens at these tracks. All slides up to the bottom with the momentum, or up to the top, excuse me, with all the momentum before it all slides back down to the bottom. Taking a couple more views of this as BB says, oh, well, hello, Daniel. Sorry about that. I heard someone else. My bad. And I want to take a ride on board here. Let's ride on board with Danny Gutierrez first, and then we'll look at this with one more TV cam. You see, he's right here looking, maybe thinking about 3 wide, and then just out of nowhere Tell you what, if there was no one around, I think the 08 saves it, but not the case. And then, bam, everybody just sliding up in front of him. He was probably sitting there wondering to himself, well, where did everybody come from? We'll take one more view of it here. He goes sliding past the pit lane camera and into the grass, bringing out. Well, remember, we have 3 overtimes, so this is going to be the second one. And I'll tell you what, I'm all right with having a couple, but if we had this thing under caution, I'm going to be a little bit upset because I want to see the finish that we could certainly have if we can get to that white flag. Joshua Watson is still leading the way. Adrian Watt second, Alan Pajari third, Sean Kaltenbach fourth, and Carl Dotson fifth. But hold on just a second. Let me rewind by into fourth. Sean Kaltenbach, look at the front end of that car. Well, you know what? It looks a lot better than it does earlier, I guess. But, I mean, man, he still has heavy damage. And yet he's still out here leading. Not leading, but in the top 5, excuse me.
It's very shocking. I wasn't expecting him to be up here after that incident in the beginning of the race. But he's proven us wrong once again. But I don't think he's going to get there. I really don't. I mean, all we have to do is get to this white flag. And I just don't think he's going to catch the 01. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know about you, Austin. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I don't know. He's on the second row, and I think last time when we were looking at him, he was either on row 3 or 4, and just in that 3/4 of a lap, he picked up 2 positions or so. If he's got newer tires than these guys, which I almost think he might, you know, of course, when he wasn't on the lead lap, there might have been no point in him wasting the tires. He might have saved it just in case something like this happened. Maybe he's got a shot. Let's see if we can drag him up here real quick and see if we can't get a quick word. Hey, Sean, this is Austin and Daniel up in the booth. Got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, first of all, man, how are you even up here? We saw you with a pretty big wreck earlier, heavy front end damage. You get it fixed up to the best of your ability, and you're going to be starting in row 2. Do you think you somehow have a shot to win this thing?
Definitely got it tires-wise. It just all come down to how this restart goes. If I can get anywhere to put a run, just hopefully not. Just want to come back in one piece after the way this race started.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you can come back in one piece because it looks like you got a couple that flew off from the earlier wreck. But either way, you're looking really fast there towards the end. It's going to be crazy. Good luck, and we'll see if you can somehow bring this thing out.
Appreciate it. We'll give her our best shot.
All right, and sure enough, kind of called it there. He said he's got the tires. That's what he's been relying on. And we mentioned that earlier. I said if you have damage here at Kansas, although I didn't think it'd be as bad as his, I said the only thing that can equal it out if it's very minor would be tires. In this case, it's a lot more, but we're going to see what happens here. All right, second overtime at Kansas. Joshua Watson, Adrian Watts, they take the green flag. Can we finish it right here? Can Sean Kaltenbach somehow steal it?
Here we go. Overtime attempt number 2 underway here at Kansas Motor Speedway. Outside lane is really formed really well. As you see, we are side by side with the 03 of Watt and the 01 of Watson. Let's see what they can do. Row 2, you see him. You see the Kaltenbach there with the hood damage there.
Oh, he's going for a move. Here comes the 2 on the outside. He's got it. He's got the clean air. Oh, there's going to be some contact. The 01 gets into him. Oh, he slides behind him. Oh, my goodness. New leader, Sean Kaltenbach, and a white flag is out. I'm telling you right now, if he can hold this off, this would easily be the most impressive win of the season. Joshua Watts is not going to go up. He's fighting back up top, but I think that 2 car just might have the tires to do it. Joshua Watts is all out of shape. He gets into his teammate. They're wrecking out back. Sean Kaltenbach's going to pull away. Oh, big wreck out back.
That's it.
Oh, man, everyone's getting in. Holy moly. And after a chaotic race and a wreck, he went a lap down. He wins it at Kansas. Sean Kaltenbach with easily the win of the year so far.
They're still wrecking.
As they continue to wreck behind. Are you kidding me, Sean Kaltenbach? I cannot believe what we just witnessed.
I can't believe I just witnessed this on my first broadcast of this network.
Sean Kaltenbach. I'll tell you what, if he's not excited in the booth, then I don't know what to tell you, because he just did something that I would have 100% told you was impossible when he got in that wreck. He got up here, saved tire strategy, used tire strategy, and it worked. He won it. He's going to do a burnout here with his Team Watson Racing teammate, Andrew Neidhart, who, by the way, brings it home second. So that's a sweep for Team, well, almost a sweep. Brian Curry, unfortunately, did not finish up there with him. He was in a wreck as well, but Andrew Neidhart and Sean Kaltenbach, the teammates, do sweep the 1-2. And we'll see. Is he going to do a burnout here?
I was not expecting that. The 01 was dominating this race the whole day. I really thought the 01 had it there. I really did.
For sure. It looks like they're going to do nose to nose. And I'll tell you what, we certainly need to take a look back at that last wreck, but this is a pretty gnarly burnout, so we're going to take a look at this first. And that's pretty cool. Got the logos hood to hood. I have not seen something like that before. That's awesome.
I like it. It's pretty nice paint scheme there.
And you know what I was just thinking? If they had their teammate somehow and they got a 1, 2, 3, they might be able to make a W. Actually, not quite. I think they would need one more car after that. Either way, pretty cool, and they're going to blow that thing up. Andrew Neidhart's going to be next in line to blow it up. Heck of a finish. We will be talking to your top 3 here in just a moment, but let's go back and take a look at this last lap wreck. And the man who led the most laps in turn caused it. Of course, nothing intentional, but boy, I'll tell you what, I think he just got beyond flustered when Sean Kaltenbach came out of no man's land and he was trying everything to somehow make it work. And the top side's fast, but you can't try to overdo it. And watch the move here. This is the winning move from Sean Kaltenbach. Gets a pretty good run and then into 3, takes over with the tires and just says, see you later. Thought they were going to wreck right here. Looked like the 01 tried to get up here. There was some contact. Oh, man. Sean Kaltenbach holds on. There was almost some more right there. The 01's going to drop in line, but I think he was racing him so aggressively right there because he knew that the 2 had the tires. And he knew if he was gone, he'd be gone.
I still can't get over the fact, Austin, that he got that much of a run with that damaged car on the outside lane.
Absolutely. And then let's back this up so we can show you. No, you're right. But, I mean, it's got to be the tires. You got to think, again, all these other guys were on pretty old tires. But watch Joshua Watson in the 01 here. Man, you see he's already wiggling. He wiggled pretty much throughout the entire corner. Getting off the turn here, he gets loose.
Right
a little overcorrects. Now he's a little behind on his steering. Gets down into his teammate. And when they come back up the track, it's on from here. You're going to see a lot of guys start piling into this one. A lot of people just had nowhere to go. We'll take a look from the blimp cam. And there's the 03 coming back down. Oh, man, Alan Pajari, another guy that just had nowhere to go. He was probably going to get through it. Watch the 36. Is he going to split both of these guys? Actually, he does hit the 34 as part of it. That's where he got that front end damage, but he's just going to keep on piling through. Carl Dotson on the under end. He had nowhere to go. Adrian Watts looks like he's maybe getting the worst of it. And it looks like for the most part, was everybody else able to avoid this? Looks like they were. And then we might have had one more wreck coming out of the turn here. See if we can go up to it. Does everybody keep... Ooh, Carl Dotson gets into that outside wall. Looks like everybody's going by the 29 coming off. Everybody escapes danger from there. They come across the line and Carl Dotson back up into the 51. But, of course, it did not matter at that point. So Sean Kaltenbach, ladies and gentlemen, he gets the win here at Kansas. We're going to now go and get up your top 3. We'll be right back. And we're back at Kansas Motor Speedway. Going to pull in your top 3. We're going to start first with third place finisher. And I will tell you what, I did not even notice this when I was reading the results. That is Brett Spott. Let me tell you something. The damage that 35 had on the front, we were talking about him earlier and where he'd got the damage from, but he somehow brings it back to get a podium finish. Brett, you got a copy?
Yeah, man, I do.
All right, and this is easily going to be your season best finish. You bring it to third in a pretty chaotic race and a pretty chaotic ending. What were you thinking down that last lap and when you saw the big wreck start ahead of you?
About the same thing I was trying to do all race, which was really more or less just try to stay out of everyone's way. And it just kind of worked out. Fought to get the lucky dog. I mean, it was about a lap 115 or so, 110. Before I got the lucky dog and finally got back on the lead lap. And I had good tire pick. I ran really long on that first set, so had good tires at the end, which definitely helped. But yeah, when everyone started crashing to the inside, I just was like, just please stay down there. Don't come up here. I've had enough of that tonight.
Well, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, to come home on the podium with that much damage, a very impressive run, and we certainly look to see you build some momentum off of it. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to take a shout out tonight?
No, I mean, Ryan Haynes, their teammate, Austin was helping me out. He was watching spotting for us, so appreciate those guys.
All right, sounds good. Well, thanks for talking to us. Congrats on the third place finish, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, man.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, did not see that coming from the 35. Didn't notice it yet because we only kind of noticed the top two. We're teammates, and let's pull in the next guy, the teammate that got second, Andrew Nieder of the winner. Daniel stands by with him.
Thank you, Austin. I'm standing by here with Andrew Nieder. Andrew, you come home P2. What do you think you could have done to get there to P1?
Probably have an extra set of tires like my teammate did. I made a mistake on the last pit stop also. I went the wrong direction. Totally meant to go the other way and just had a brain fart. Went the wrong direction. So the car got really tight that last run. I meant to free it up a little bit for that last 20 laps or so. But I'll take it. It was an opportune time to avoid some wrecks.
Yes, there were a lot of wrecks here tonight at Kansas Speedway. And now that we have Kansas right behind us now it's in the past, what are you looking forward to now for the next Cup Series race at Darlington? Do you think that's a good track that you're at? Do you think it's going to be a bad track that we're going to? Like, how do you think your car's going to handle there?
I'm not looking forward to it. Last year, that was a pretty bad track for us. I ended up getting lapped by a pretty good driver, so I think a good goal for us next year is maybe stay on the lead lap and maybe top 10 if we can get that, or if that's asking too much, I don't know.
All right, Andrew, and do you have any shout-outs before you leave tonight?
Just another shout out to my teammates. Been doing really good with the setup builds, and he's been doing a little bit of reconnaissance during the week when I don't get a chance to do that. So he's helping me with lines and driving technique while I don't get a chance to practice. So huge thanks to him.
All right. Well, Andrew, I want to congratulate you on a top 30 finish, and I can't wait to see what you can do at Darlington.
Thank you.
All right, now we're going to pull up your winner tonight, Sean Kaltenbach. Sean, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, you just pulled off basically the impossible. That was by far the most impressive thing I have seen all season by any driver. Not only do you and your teammates sweep 1-2, but you come back from a lap down, getting in a wreck early on. I believe it might have been around lap 13, and you get the win. How'd you do it?
I would say a lot of luck there. But the car was really good. It's just when we first wrecked, or got in the wreck there, was pretty tore up. And I was like, I had a meatball flag. It had about 35, 40 seconds required. And I was like, well, we're done. But I said, well, I'll just try to make the best out of it. I figured I'll just let myself lose a lap, try to get as much of it fixed as possible. At least if the steering wheel was straight, I think I was like, well, maybe I can salvage a top 10. But after I lost the lap there, I figured, so well, I'm going to have to stay out to get wave around at some point, because I tried to get the lucky dog there and about crashed trying to run Fitzgerald down to get the lucky dog. And like I said, I was all but giving up there. It's like my only hopes, if we get a few yellows here, that set of tires, having that one set sitting back there, even though it wasn't really a strategy, it was just the fact that I took a wave around, and when I did that, I had that last set of tires there and put them on as well. I might have a shot at here. We're not really all that aerodynamic. The hood was still pushed up pretty bad, but as the tires are, the pull-off's so big here, having a fresh set of tires is worth its weight in gold.
Well, even all the comeback that you had throughout the race, once you were coming to that white flag, it looked like the 01 was trying to maybe pinch you up as tight as he could. I think you knew you had the new tires. What were you thinking when you saw him leaning on your door?
Well, I mean, Josh was always race me clean. I definitely didn't want to end up, getting into him, but I was like, I can't back out if I get a big run. I said, if I do, I'm not gonna win this race. I was like, I gotta hope for an opening here and go for it. Otherwise, it's no one wants to finish second.
Absolutely. Well, congrats on the win tonight. Probably your biggest one of the season, but not your first, your second of the season. Before we let you go tonight, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Thanks, Andy, for helping me. We worked on the setup for quite a bit there before the race. We thought we were going to be out to lunch. Then it was like, well, maybe it's not so bad, but we put in a few hours before the race there after working on it pretty much all day yesterday, playing around with stuff. But it's always fun racing with them. And I also like to thank you guys for doing a commentary. Like I said, family watches this. They enjoy watching it now that we're being broadcast, and appreciate all that you guys do for putting into the series with us.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us. Congrats on the win, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you.
All right. We're going to go over your finishing results tonight. Sean Kaltenbach gets the win. Andrew Niedert finishes second, and I'm telling you what, I did not give this as much due credit as possible. Brett Spod finishing third is just equally as incredible as Sean Kaltenbach getting the win. Up 32 positions from where he started, and of course, he also came back from being a lap down. Johnny McCulchuk, he gets the season best finish in fourth. Jeff Marble brings it back to fifth, although I don't think it was the way he wanted this night to go. Cody Richardson, sixth. Scott Glasso, seventh. Cody Colley, eighth. Brian Watson, ninth. Jerry Isaacs, 10th. Carl Dotson, 11th. Glenn Grigsby in 12th. Scott Naslund, 13th. Andrew Kotsko, 14th. 15th. Alan Pajari. Adrian Watts finishes 16th after being second on the last lap. 17th, Joshua Watson. 18th, Richard Elliott. Cody Matthews, 19th. Matthew Gearinger, 20th. Ryan Haynes in 21st. Brian Conklin, 22nd. Tracy Powers, 23rd. Tyler Marble, 24th. Danny Gutierrez, 25th. Austin Fitzgerald, 26th. Ryan Shiro, 27th. Bill Benedict, 28th. Todd Shiro, 29th. Running out the top 30 is going to be Jared Bundy. Shane Parrish, boy, rough finish after a good race. Finishes 31st. 32nd, Jacob Musso. 33rd, Kyle Oakley. 34th, Joe Musso. 35th, Mark Nadu. 36th, Brian Curry. And the last car in the field tonight, and 37th is going to be Joe Owen. Well, Daniel, it was a pretty crazy race. Overall, I think the lesson everybody's going to take from this is that they should have saved an extra set of tires.
They should have, and like I mentioned throughout this race, and what you mentioned too, is you don't want to keep overheating your tires early on in this race. You want to try to save as much tires as possible to get you to the end, and that's what some drivers took advantage of, and that's what most drivers didn't take advantage of, and hopefully they learned their lesson now that we are moving on to Darlington for the next race. That's going to be even more worse on the tires.
Absolutely. All right. Well, until next week, I hope everybody did enjoy. Daniel, thank you for joining me in the booth tonight. And until next time, have a good one.
You too.